Sean Combs dropped to his knees and just bowed his head and just prayed. When we found out there was a verdict, Sean Combs returned to the courtroom. He said a few words to his family saying it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. Now, this is after he led a moment of prayer earlier this morning when they were in court. When we were waiting for the verdict to come in, Sean Combs was sitting in his chair reading Psalms 18. It was a printout of Psalms 18. So again, he had that moment of quiet, that moment of meditation. He was still waiting to find out. And so as they were reading down the count, again, Sean Combs was not looking forward. He was kind of in that state, that stillness, that meditative state that we've seen him. And the first count, not guilty, he goes, yeah, that was the first thing. You could hear a little bit of cheering from the family and the crowd. People were saying yes. The second count, he just kind of fist pumped. Now, when the third count, the sex trafficking, the Mann Act, the interstate prostitution, when that guilty verdict was read, he was kind of holding his head like this. And you could see he was shocked. He did not see that one coming. You could see kind of like that kinetic shock run through his body. But then when they went through the next count, the sex trafficking for Jane, not guilty. Then the prostitution for Jane, he and Tinny Garagos, they kind of had like a moment. They were sitting next to each other. They grabbed hands. They were holding hands, kind of like, like this, pumping each other's fists, like congratulations. Then Combs began to turn around and speak to his family, saying, I'm coming home. It's going to be okay. And then he actually started thanking the jury. He started nodding his head, thanking the jury, that same eye contact that we'd seen at the beginning of the trial that he'd been admonished for. He did that again. Now, but it's not clear if any of the jurors looked back and acknowledged him. I didn't really see anyone look back to acknowledge him thanking the jury, but he was just thanking the jury, and he would continuously look back at his family. Now, when the jury left and we were all dismissed from the court, that was another powerful moment. Sean Combs dropped to his knees. He dropped to his knees where his chair is and just bowed his head and just prayed. It was about 2 or 3 minutes. He just dropped, and you could just tell he was relieved, he was thankful. You just can't really emphasize it enough. Now, typically, this is not what marshals will allow a person to do after conviction. His family stood up in that moment, kind of acknowledging that he was on his knees with his head bowed. Now, remind you, it's also an armchair, so it's a pretty robust chair, and he's just on his knees, praying in the chair. When he stood up, the family cheered, lots of cheers. It was kind of like the end of the Super Bowl for this family and for this legal team.